What is up, Internet? BloodieKnux here, aka the Gothic Gamer of LV1 Gaming, back with another wonderful review here for a game that I am very excited for here. In a year long awaited of many beloved sequels here, such as Baldur's Gate, Alan Wake, as well as games like Diablo 4, there's a lot that has been waiting for. But one that was definitely unexpected, though shortly talked about before, is GhostRunner 2, a game that I previously reviewed way back when the first one came out back in 2021. And honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So with a sequel that I really wasn't expecting with the way that the story went, had me kind of wondering how this was going to be. So, diving back into the world of Dharma and the tower, I want to find out if this high-speed cyberpunk slasher is still as good as its predecessor, or maybe even better. So if you want to find out with me here, then take a look and follow along. And this is your spoiler warning, as we are going to dive into some of the story bits here. So, let's jump in, shall we? So starting off with the story here, the story of GhostRunner 2 picks up 1 year after the ending of the original GhostRunner. We actually return back into the cybernetic hardware of Jack, or GhostRunner 74, as his original designation was, as one of the numbers was before. Following the fall and the defeat of the Keymaster, the oppressive tyrant of the first game, Mara, the climbers have successfully freed the tower, but now they are in the middle of a power struggle with trying to help create a sense of peace and balance within the tower, working with other groups to try and create a centralized government for basically everyone to be able to share and discuss what's going on and have a voice without needing to constantly resort to bloodshed. However, along with the climbers, there's now a group called the Anchors, and a group with the church, many who follow the beliefs of the architect, one of the previous designers of the tower, as well as the Anchors wanting to have more power than the climbers, not wanting to follow this council that's trying to be established. And during that time, they're making a push to take down and fight against the climbers here while they're trying to cooperate. And during this time, it reveals that one of their leaders is actually one of the Ashura. The Ashura are actually the original Ghost Runners that the numbers were based off of here. Were prototypes before they were mass produced. Each Ghost Runner was very unique, very distinct in a lot of what they had, the way that they fought, the way that they were able to operate. And they followed a code called Bushido. It was a program code, one, put in place to reinstate and revive the architect, basically to follow his teachings, his word, his beliefs. Jack, however, like many of the other former keys and subordinates of the Keymaster, is now set to assist the climbers and gather more allies than he did before. Being very unique amongst the Ghost Runners, his code that was to prevent him from ever following or taking violence against the inhabitants of the tower, let alone their leader, makes him the only possible choice of being able to stop the Ashura. So it's up to knowing, will he actually be able to defeat the architect again after the last time and stop the Ashura? When I tell you that this story came out of nowhere with the way that they portrayed it, I was caught off guard because honestly I felt that the story from the very first game was well done enough, wonderful, and honestly didn't need a continuation. It felt that Jack's sacrifice with killing the architect's AI that was trying to take over his body after the cyber void shutdown which was the entire integrated network that helped to control and lock many aspects of the tower. That him knowing that if he killed the architect would also shut down his consciousness because he was connected to the cyber void. Knowing that he was making a selfless sacrifice for the tower and the climbers and everything else, becoming a legend and a hero amongst the people, I honestly felt that it didn't need a continuation. However, talking about how he was lucky enough to be able to regain consciousness after the shutdown due to him being and embracing his kind of humanity and kind of being lucky with his consciousness not just being tied to his cybernetic hardware, it makes sense in the realm of the cyberpunk genre. And the way that they're telling the story here being, a time skip, and kind of filling out a lot more of what's going on and giving a new presentation with understanding a villain like the Architect and introducing Ghostrunners like the Ashura as the new threats, as the new enemies, really does go a long way for how they were able to kind of portray and continue the story. And honestly, while it may have been out of nowhere within the realm of the concept of the genre that Ghostrunner exists within, it makes perfect sense. And honestly, I enjoyed the story a lot, understanding the digital consciousness and revival through the digital world. We've seen it in other games within this cyberpunk genre, and it works. It was unexpected, but it's not bad. And because of that, I'm really happy with what they did here. While it may have been an unnecessary continuation, it's definitely a well done and welcome one for this game. Now for the visuals of Ghostrunner 2, it is simply beautiful. It is breathtaking in every sense of the word. I already mentioned that in my original review for Ghostrunner 1 that I love the aesthetic and the cyberpunk feel to everything. It's very dystopian, it's very run down while also being very colorful at the same time here, showing that not everything is pretty underneath the neon lights here. And Ghostrunner 2 continues that very much so. We have much bigger arenas with a lot more neon lights as the city has rebuilt itself. There's so much more going on, and everything just looks way more detailed than it was before, and that could be due to the switch to Unreal Engine 5. The visuals have taken a very small but noticeable improvement over everything, and especially when it comes to the lighting, there's just so much that has been put into it. And that's not even going into the fact that the cosmetics and detailing for Jack and him has also seen a very nice overhaul, from the looks and the appeal of his swords and weapons to even the cosmetics and changing of his arms and armor. All of that has very nice detailing too, as well as the fact that we also see that they've added customization to the motorcycle, a new introduction into the game here with open segments that take place outside of the tower, and seeing what's going on in the world outside gives just so much more to this game that just really helps it to shine in the visual department. And there's a lot of neat little details that they added in as well. One of the ones that I found hilarious and really cool is that they actually put on Jack in the game that there's a little electro bracelet that has your name on it. So it has the player's name. And I think that's a cool little detail to make it feel as if you are the controller of Jack and have some sort of place in this world. Overall, needless to say, the visuals got a very nice uplift that shows that One More Level has been working a lot since the first game. Now, The audio design of GhostRunner has not changed. And honestly, that is for the best. The electro EDM synth waves of the first game felt perfect for the kind of appeal and feeling that they wanted to go for. And honestly, the new OST and soundtrack for the new game is simply just amazing. It's still got those hard hitting fast tempos. The bass drops are kicking right where it needs to. It's just hard not to love the way that the soundtrack always plays, whether it's heart pumping right in the middle of an action sequence when you get into a fight, to even just the very opening music on the main screen. Everything just looks and feels so good. And as a follow-up to the original soundtrack, it it fits. It didn't need any massive change to not be well done. And honestly, the sounds of combat and the action and fighting feels just as good, if not better, than the original. From the sounds of, slicing your enemies and the flesh is getting thrown all over the place, there's just been very noticeable small improvements that are much appreciated. But more than anything, there's so much more well done to the voice acting here. As we've gotten a larger cast of characters in this game compared to the original, there's a lot more conversations, there's a lot more dialogue, there's a lot more interactions going on. And the voice acting has seen a dramatic increase. And I'm very happy with all of that, because all of that gives GhostRunner 2 a ever so slight but noticeable push in the right direction. Finally, for the gameplay. This has to be one of the biggest areas that has seen an improvement from the first game for me, because in my previous review and my playthrough the original, one of my biggest gripes is that while the combat was fun, it was frantic, fast-paced, all over the place, high action adrenaline, there was so many parts where it felt inconsistent and iffy, such as the way that it would be when you attack certain enemies, if you would automatically dash to fill in the gap to not, as well as the fact that there was inconsistencies with the momentum, with way that you would be able to utilize speed, with able to fill in gap and jump areas. Well, luckily in Ghost Runners 2, a lot of those issues have been honestly improved upon. I feel that combat felt more consistent, it felt better, it felt more accurate from the way that you would be able to swing your sword to be able to hit in a noticeably larger but more consistent area, as well as when it comes to movement and momentum. I saw the biggest improvement because in the game, one of the newest additions that they added was that there are now in-game challenges that you can play. And one of them is being able to do speed runs. You'll run around the map here, run through rings, try to beat it as fast as you can. And a lot of that requires you to have consistent momentum and speed to be able to help you improve your time and be able to jump, fill gaps faster until you're able to refine it to be able to hit those harder times. And before, I felt like there would have been times where it felt inconsistent and not as accurate as I would have liked. But now that doesn't feel the same. I felt like I was able to figure out faster movements, able to keep my momentum going, be able to jump gaps a lot easier without having to do additional work on being able to slide, dash, or anything else to fill in that area. And one of the better quality of life changes that I enjoyed the most here is also the fact of the way that they changed how the motherboard system works. In the first game, that there was a motherboard system to where you can add these Tetris pieces on a board to be able to give you newer effects or special abilities that would only be allowable if you were able to fit them on this board. However, the fact that they made it into a Tetris puzzle made it really harder to balance out. Being able to get some of the bigger and better upgrades without taking up so much of the board. Now what they've done here is they actually have given you a board of 5 different columns that you unlock as you improve your motherboard by collecting these memory pieces within the game. These memory pieces then add more energy to your motherboard, allowing you to add more pieces, as each of these abilities that you unlock have different energy costs. And along with that too is that they also exist in the fact of that you are able to purchase them freely using the in-game currency that you win or that you earn from killing enemies and playing these challenges. It allows a lot more flexible freedom without having to add an unnecessary puzzle element to it for those who may not necessarily like that. And as well as they gave you a free upgrade, is that before you had to have a piece that would help to reveal secrets within the level. Now that's just something that's built in on your map. So you're always able to find and hunt those secrets if you're willing to put in the time. So that little piece goes a long way with helping to change and improve the augmentation score, and allowing you to be able to find a playstyle that fits your playstyle and fits your habits. Along with that, they've also introduced a lot of other smaller changes, such as in the game, there is a inclusion of a minigame called RogueRunner.exe, which is basically you start out in a minigame with a set number of lives, no upgrades, and you play almost like a roguelike version minigame, trying to get more lives, get more upgrades, to be able to unlock special cosmetics or little goodies for those who are wanting to go out of their way to play that. And I think it's those little simple additions that really help to add in way more content for this game. And honestly, it is all welcome, from the quality of life to the small additions to even the addition of the motorcycle. Every little bit goes a long way for this game. Overall, my time with Ghost Runner 2 was one of surprise, but honestly, I am all okay with it. Not knowing where the story was going to go, as well as not knowing how much was improved or changed, all of it felt refined, and it really went a very long way for me. And I am happy with that. For fans of the original, this is an absolute must play. I was like, the action feels much smoother and overall just clean, and it feels just more enticing. Um, it's hard to not just want to love and jump back into this game, especially for those who played the Hell DLC of the first game. Now, I do want to thank the team over at One More Level and 505 Games for providing us a key for the review here, allowing me to return back to this original world and absolutely loving this amazing cyberpunk feel. If you want to check out the game, it is now out and available on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC through Steam, GOG, and Epic Game Store. So, are you a fan of the original Ghost Runner? Are you planning on checking out the sequel? Let us know down below. And guys, make sure, if y'all haven't already, y'all hit that subscribe button and continue supporting us and the team here. We do a lot of amazing work and hope that you enjoy everything. But this has been my Ghost Runner 2 review. I am BloodieKnux signing off. And until next time, remember, you can always start at level 1. Later, everybody.